Well, greetings and welcome to our series of weekly devotionals. We have reached the midpoint of our devotionals. This Wednesday we are exploring Psalm 138. When I first started dating my wife, I had this saying I used to say to her all the time because we had both gone through sort of messy divorces. And I used to say to her all the time, windshield, baby, windshield, not the rear view. Look through the windshield. So we were going to look ahead and not at some of the ugliness of the past that we had lived through. However, I would say that the psalmist who wrote Psalm 138, and as probably is true of most of the Psalms, would not really agree with that little saying of mine. Because the Psalms are always looking back and looking ahead at the same time, looking in the past and looking to the future concurrently. We hear in this particular psalm, verse 3, "On the day I called, you answered me. You increased my strength of soul." The Lord acted in the past. Verse 8, "The Lord will fulfill his purpose for me. Your steadfast love, O Lord, endures forever." The psalmist looks to the future as well. It reminds me of a story I heard about an image called a Sankofa bird. It's an image from the African country of Ghana, and it's a bird who is flying ahead but looking back at the same time. And the image, the symbol, was meant to remind the people of Ghana to look to the stories, the traditions, the rituals of their past to help them to inform and guide and direct their present and future living as well. That the past, it was important to incorporate that into their lives, that a whole life meant looking at the past as well as the future as well. And I read a story that in the 1990s, there was a discovery that was made in New York City, a cemetery of slaves from the mid-1800s, the Civil War era. A cemetery of slaves had been discovered, and on one of the coffins was etched in iron nails the symbol of the Sankofa bird. And I'm not sure exactly what meaning that had, but I think perhaps for those slaves, it reminded them that before they had been enslaved in America, they had been something more than that. They had come from a proud people, and their people were more than the slaves that they had become. And I think that symbol helped to give them hope. It was a form of defiance, a form of defiant hope. And in fact, the site of that cemetery is now a national monument. I think the psalmist is doing much the same thing. Despite the troubles that he or she may be living through, they look to the past, to God's activity in their life. And it is a form of defiant hope for the future, that despite what they are going through, they look to the past, to God's action and activity in their life, and that provides them hope for their present and for their future living. So perhaps taking a cue from the Sankofa bird and the book of Psalms, maybe I should start sharing with my wife a windshield and rear view as well. Makes for a complete life. Amen.